has officially begun.
The road to $10,000 runs through the Bluegrass State. This is round number 10 of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing at the Kentucky Speedway. We're getting ready to dance once again. Tim Terry, Joe Cortez, and Parker Kligerman's here as well for our pre-race show. And Joe, we haven't raced this series for a little while. They've had a couple of off weeks. Some of these drivers have done other things than iRacing. Some of them have been practicing the new build. Some of them have been playing around, getting ready for Kentucky. But now it's here. All that pre-race stuff can stop. We're getting ready to go racing and hand out some points and see if anybody can stop Kenny Humpy.
Well, that is the $64,000 question, isn't it? You know, and as we saw a week ago, this track is known for very exciting racing, a lot of fun racing, and most importantly, it's not a track these guys are completely used to yet. When you put on top of that the new build that was just released a week ago, that makes everything that much more exciting. And whatever you had prior to this race, whatever strategy you had, whatever ideas you had going into these 1.5 mile tracks, throw them out the window, because tonight you're going to have to try all new on a track that is completely different from anything you're going to see on the circuit.
Okay, Parker, I know you have a vested interest in this series as well with Byron Daly, and you've raced against a lot of these drivers before, and you've raced on Kentucky before in this sim. What do we expect out of this race tonight?
Well, I think you said it, Joe there said a good portion, is that, you know, really this track is really unique. And being as flat as it is, especially for iRacing, you don't have a lot of flat tracks you experience like this one that offer a bit of multi-groove racing. So I think you'll definitely see that. As I always have to say, go by Byron Daly. We've been helping him out for a couple years now, and he's doing a great job. He's always looking for that chance to get closer to the front. Doesn't quite get there, but I'm always pushing for him, so hopefully he'll have a good run tonight.
Kenny Humpy has been the driver to beat so far this season. He has been beat a couple of times on the racetrack. He's won 5 of the 9 races so far. Ray Alfala's won 1. He's second in the point standings. Chad Lawton is third. He's won a race so far. Alex Ward has won a race, and Alan Bowes won a race as well this year. But, Joe, the key mark is, without that drop race that we factor in, it's 110 points between first and second. Ray Alfala has lost a championship this way before. Question is, can he win one this way?
That is a very big question, and I think that's what everyone's going to kind of have on their mind tonight as they get ready to race this track. You may not see guys racing as aggressively as you would normally see this part of the season. You may not see guys making those big moves that you normally see at this part of the season. Instead, what I think you're going to see here tonight is a very intelligently run race. Everyone's going to come in here. Everyone's going to run the car they have, the car they believe they have. Let it settle out for the first half of the race, for the first, 60, 70 laps of the race. Then by the second half of the race, you're really going to start seeing guys test these cars and start pushing them as hard as they can.
So we just went to this track on the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. The Big Three were here, Parker. What can we draw similarities for somebody that's watching maybe for the first time? What can we draw similarities from what we saw on the weekend to what we're going to see here on a Tuesday night?
Really similar. Honestly, you know, that's what's funny about this sim and explaining this sim to people that don't know about iRacing is that what you experience in the car in real life, you're going to experience in a sim in some form or fashion. Now, maybe, you know, the other night it was a little hot. We had the new package, etc. But the track itself, you know, it's so well done. It's so close. The bumps, every bump is exactly the same. The thing that always gets me is we talk a lot about ovals in real life, about having the arc and the way we set our arc. And a lot of games don't allow you to arc right because they don't accept the banking the right way. You don't end up on the exact same line as real life. And here, just to give you an example, in turn 1 to the center of turn 1 and 2, it is literally line for line what we do in real life. And that's pretty amazing to me. Also, focusing on some of these guys you've got here tonight, they are the best in the business. Ray Alfala, Tyler Hudson, sorry, I'm used to giving a nickname there. Kenny Hump. These guys, I've raced against them a lot in sim, and every time I race them, it's one of those things where I tell people, if I go and I want to win a sim race, I've got to bring my absolute A game, maybe 110% game sometimes. I just don't have because these guys are so good at what they do.
So we are getting ready to go racing here in just a few moments' time, and we mentioned this racetrack, Joe, being unique, but we've also produced some unique winners this season with some of those unique racetracks. Alex Warren's won a race on a little bit of pit strategy. Alan Bowes has done the same thing. Do we see a new winner this season? Obviously, yes, Kenny Humpy's dominated. We talked about that. Ray, Chad are good. Could have Patrick Crabtree, maybe a Chris Overland. Brian Blackford has been strong this season. Quiet, one top 5 finish in 9 races, but he still sits in position number 6. Or do we see a returning name, maybe like a Kevin King, come back to victory lane here, Kentucky? Could this be a night that we add another name to the win list?
Let's not rule anything out here tonight because this track is such an anomaly. It is anybody's race from the get-go. Now, granted, the team is going to be incredibly strong, as they always are this time of the season. But that being said, it really is anybody's race, and it wouldn't surprise me if somebody who has been traditionally strong at these mile-and-a-half tracks, like a Tyler Hudson, say, or a Nick Ottinger, say, it wouldn't surprise me if they came out of nowhere, literally just out of nowhere, to pick up a win underneath everyone's noses.
So we're going to step away for just a few moments' time, have a couple of words from our series sponsor, Peak, and we'll be back with some racing from the Kentucky Speedway. You're watching the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze on iRacing Live.
Sorry, guys. I never would have thought making duck calls would have stirred up this much excitement.
No kidding. You got them coming up here.
Shortcut time!
That's what I'm talking about. You sure this is a good idea?
Oh, yeah. I got this. I can't guarantee you how this will end, but Peak can guarantee your radiator for life. Introducing the Peak Run True Guarantee. Check it out at peakguarantee.com.
Round number 10 of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series set to go green. Here is your starting lineup for round number 10. 167 laps to run, and Kenny Humpy will run it from the pole position at a 29.68. To the outside, car number 2, Ray Alfalla.
Big surprise, position number 3, the 13 of Brad Mahar will start in the inside of row number 2. On the outside of him, the 32 of Danny Hansen.
We got Cody Bias in position number 5 in the 27. To the outside, his teammate Justin Bolton in 36.
Chad Lawton will start on the inside of road number 4. On the outside of him, the 57 of PJ Sturgis.
Brian Blackford, top 6 in points, will roll off 9th, and Kevin King 10th.
Casey Tucker, Benjamin Burmeister will start row number 6.
Chris Overland and the silent ninja, Thomas Davis.
Behind them will be the 6 of Trey Hudson, 15th. Taylor Hurst, the 74 and 16th.
Corey Vincent, Alex Scribner, the next row.
Row number 10 belongs to Ryan Lowe on the inside. Teeloff, the 51 of Tyler Laughlin on the outside.
Alan Bowes, 21, and Tyler Hudson, 01.
Michael Conti, the number 5 machine, will start position number 23, buried in the rough. The 82 of Alex Warren, 24th.
Nathan Wise and Brandon Bowie, your next row.
Shane Doherty, Tom Lewandowski round out row number 16.
Matt Busa, Nick Ottinger, your top 30.
Check that row 14 they are running out, and it'll be Matt Busa, Nick Ottinger, Dave Ackley, David Rattler, 31st and 32nd.
Landon Harrison, Tyler Hill.
Jake Sturgis, Adam Gill in the next row behind them.
Patrick Crabtree, Michael Johnson, and Brian Day complete your field. 39 getting ready to go green flag racing. The pace car off here. Field of command of the peak, number 58 of Kenny Humpy, and he gets on it quickly. We are racing at the Kentucky Speedway, and Joe, look at that start. The Segpay 32 on the outside, Danny Hansen, going to give a little push to Ray Alfala to try to take third over Brad Mahar.
And looks like he will do it successfully. Yes, Danny Hansen in position number 3. Brad Mahar dropped to 4th. Now Cody Bias trying to get in line and stay in the top 5. Everyone else single file all the way through this track. Closest to a 2-lane battle going on right now is between the 66 of Benjamin Burmeister and it looks like the 83 of Thomas Davies. Check that. They will go 3 wide as Taylor Hurst goes low.
Taylor Hurst goes low, and they're going to be 3 wide going down into corner number 1. It's the 83 of Thomas Davis in the middle, the 66 of Benjamin Burmeister, the 6 of Trey Eidson, and the 10 of Corey Vincent racing down the back straightaway. It'll get back to 2 wide. Burmeister going to go to the inside, maybe. No, he pulls his foot out of it. Behind them, Alan Bowes in the 21 beginning to move, and the 6 car going to go up high. Going to lose at least 1 more here to Bowes.
Meanwhile, 66 and 83 still getting out there. Burmeister still low. The 83 of Thomas Davies high. And this is a track you can pass high on relatively easy. Thomas Davies trying to make it around the hard way. Not so much, though. He might try to get back in line, but gets a little more heat on those tires. In front of them, the 47 and 29 doing business now.
They're doing business. The 29 will fall in front of the number 74. Hurst will try to go to the inside line. Just behind them, they continue to go at it around the 38 car of Ryan Lowe. Up in front, it continues to be Humpy by 0.3 of a second over Ray Alfala. Alfala keeping the leader in sight. Brad Mahar has taken back position number 3 over Hansen and Cody Bias. And Bias is actually leading a nice little train here, Joe, with Bolton, Sturgis, Blackford, and Chad Lawton also a part of this as well.
And take a look at this, Tim. All the way up to about position number, it looks like number 20, 22-ish. Everyone here is pretty much single file. The only ones doing business right now, double file, guard positions number 21 and beyond. Nathan Wise, Tyler Laughlin, they're going to go single file. Tyler Hudson, Matt Busa, Michael Connie, they're going to go single file. This time by or next time if Michael Connie will get in line. Right now, you're right at the rear bumper of the 47 machine. That's Chris Overland. He's currently in 11th. And you can see, just as he takes he turns here, you can see how everybody is lined up, single file, all the way through this track. And that's exactly what I was talking about in the pre-race show, Tim. These guys do not want to make any critical mistakes early that could end their season tonight.
Justin Bolton may have made an early critical mistake as he lets the 57 of PJ Sturgis go by, and Brian Blackford was beginning to look on the inside of the 36, but the 36 will take position number 7 back and will ride in front of Blackford. Sturgis on the move early in front of them. It's side by side between, I believe that might be Cody Bias and Danny Hansen, and Hansen is falling back now. Danny on the outside, he's going to lose at least 2 positions here, Joe, and he'll kick outside the top 5.
Indeed, he will kick outside the top 5, and that is definitely going to hurt him a little bit. But you know, this is definitely a race that is not won on lap number 7. This is a race that is run in 160 laps from now. So maybe this is a strategic move by him. As the 36 of Justin Bolton gets around the 33 of Brian Blackford. Bolton still under fire, and now looks like 74 wants to do a little business down there. He gets way out of line. He will drop to the apron, saves it, but he will lose at least 1 position to the 23 machine behind him. That is, check that 28 machine, that's Casey Tucker.
And Tucker going to go on the inside of Hurst and complete that pass into corner number 2. Hurst going to flash the nose back underneath the number 28. Down into corner number 3 they go, check that. And the 74 of Taylor Hurst. Using that middle groove per se, it's going to move the 28 up the racetrack a little bit, Joe. And Tucker going to have to fight back on the outside line.
He is going to have to fight on the outside line. Not going to happen, though. So, look, Taylor Hurst, great save on his part. He will stay back in the pack. Meanwhile, back in position number 7-ish. Remember how Danny Hansen had that great run? He is now quagmired all the way back to 8th, and it could be 9th if Chris Overland has his way.
Chris Overland trying to get in here as well. The 32 with Danny Hansen on the outside and falling back. That's not the way to complete your seg pay payment, Joe. He's going to fall back a few more spots. And here comes Taylor Hurst in the 74. Taylor Hurst going to take an opportunity to put the 32 back 1 more position behind them. 28 of Tucker and the 10 of Vincent go side by side. with the 66 of Benjamin Burmeister, also a part of this battle. They get back to single file. 26 is on the apron, Joe. I don't know if you caught what happened there, but he was running in 8th.
He was running in 8th, but it looks like he's going to lose a lot of positions now. So 32 gets wiggly, gets sideways. So 32 of Danny Hansen trying to cash in here in the Bluegrass State. Not going to happen this time by. He was 10th. He will be sent all the way back to 32nd out there. So lots of cars look like they're having trouble early with this new Sprint Cup style package they have here in iRacing.
Chad Lawton lost it all by himself at a corner number 2 a couple laps ago. I shouldn't say lost it. He didn't completely lose it. He saved that race car, but Joe, he lost about 4 positions in the making. He's currently running in position number 10, and he's got Corey Vincent in the 10 on his back bumper for that spot. Up in front, Kenny Humby continues to pace our field. It's about 6 car lengths or so back to Ray Alfala. Brad Mahar in a 3rd. The 27 of Cody Bias has the 57 of PJ Sturgis on his back bumper.
So really, the battling begins right around, not even in the top 10, Tim. This battling now starts right outside the top 18 as a 24 and 6. Now let's take a look at the 26 of Chad Lawton. He is loose once again, and it looks like he's about to give up position, this time to Corey Vincent. Right beside him, Benjamin Burmeister as well wants to pick up the position that Chad Lawton had. And I'm not sure what's going on with that 26 machine. He is all over the track tonight, but not necessarily on the racing surface. If I'm that 26 team, I'm trying to figure out what they went wrong in that setup immediately so that I can ultimately make those changes now.
Yeah, after 13 laps, the thing really doesn't look connected to the racetrack or into the racetrack. It just looks like it's sliding all over the top. And you look back behind him, 2 of his teammates are right there, Joe. It's Kevin King and Thomas Davis running right behind Chad Lawton. But then a little closer to the front, you have Kenny Humpy from the team who obviously is leading this race by 0.6 of a second. You got Cody Bias in 4th. Then you got Justin Bolton in position number 6. That side of the team not faring too badly. The other side right now still trying to figure out how to get around this racetrack, at least in the early laps of this race. If we do get some green flag racing here, Joe, it could very well extend this a little bit, and it might very well come into the hand of the 26, the 29, and the 83.
Let's go take a look at the 39 of Michael J. Johnson as he looks like he's going to try to get around the 5 machine of Michael Connie. Connie sideways. Right in front of him, the 32 machine of Hansen gets loose. So pick up 2 positions now for that 39 of Michael J. Johnson. The 32 machine, more importantly, though, in front of him, continues to struggle early in this race. Fast qualifier, but now struggling to make it work. Meanwhile, up front in that group, Michael J. Johnson in 30th. Take a look at this webcam here real quick. You see just how hard he's working. He's struggling to make that car work out there. Good news for him is he's buffered in by himself. He doesn't have to worry about a whole lot. He can just focus on the car. The bad news is that bubble does not help him if he wants to start making some positions move forward.
And there's some drivers side by side in front of him, I believe, that might help him move forward a little bit. You got Tyler Hill, you got the 89 of Landon Harrison side by side with the 50 of Alex Scribner. Scribner loses 2 spots, and then I'll move him back to position number 29 early in this race. 50 looking back at the number 89, nothing doing down into corner number 3. Up in front of them, for the most part, Joe, it is single file. We got a side-by-side battle up here between Kevin King and Alan Bowes. You got the 24 Nathan Wise closing in on this one. That's around the 15th place position as they go into corner number 1. We work lap number 18, all green so far. Looking like a fairly clean race so far, Joe. A lot of these guys really taking the opportunity to pick their passes when they can, like this one here on the 29 and the 21.
Absolutely. I mean, that is the name of the game right now. Is you just have to take advantage of what's given to you on the track. If one guy's trying to take advantage of the situation going on behind him, in front of him is a 24 Nathan Wise. You saw him try to duck underneath that 29 just a moment ago. Didn't happen that time by, but that 24 is kind of hungry, and he wants to get around the 29 and the 21 in a hurry.
Yeah, Alan Bowes trying to move towards the front of the field a little bit here. Alan started in position number 21. He's all the way up to 14, so that's a net gain of 7 positions. And he's going to try to chase down Chad Lawton, Casey Tucker, Benjamin Burmeister, and those guys in front of him. As you ride on board with the 24 of Nathan Wise, you see Kevin King directly in front of you, and then in front of him is the 21 of Alan Bose. Behind them, Busa going to go side by side with Thomas Davis and move Davis back one spot. Tyler Hudson has caught the 24 of Nathan Wise, and here goes Hudson to the inside. Hudson's got a rocket early.
Hudson does have a rocket early, and as one thing I said, don't count out Hudson just yet. Don't count him out in this race because he does do very well traditionally at these mile-and-a-half courses. These courses he feels very comfortable in. He does very well. It's his bread and butter, if you will. And so if you really want to have a dark horse in this race alone, I'd say Tyler Hudson, because he knows how to work these, and tracks like this played into his championship campaign 2 years ago.
And, you know, Hudson was looking a little bit better before we went on the break, Joe. He struggled earlier in the season, but it looked like they had come together with some sort of package just before that break, midsummer break. And I think Tyler Hudson and his team, as long as they didn't touch a whole lot of things that they had going for them, I think he's going to continue to excel. Currently up in position number 16, and it is early in this race, 167 laps to run, and we've run 22 thus far. But Tyler Hudson looking pretty good so far in this event, but we still have a long way to go.
Let's roll on the rear bumper now of the 29 machine. That is Kevin King. And you see just how close the 0-1 of the former champion Tyler Hudson is, and you see just how much he's trying to calculate his move. The 0-1 wants to make that move. He wants to get around him, but he also knows that if the 21 Alan Bose is going to block him in, it doesn't make any sense. So right now he's going to bide his time. He's going to play a little conservation, and he's going to work with the 29 as opposed to against him. And when the 29 makes that mistake, Tyler Hudson will be there, ready to take the kill.
Behind them, it looks like Matt Busen, the 34, going to try to move up one on Nathan Wise. He's caught this back. Davis, the 15, I believe, or check that, the 05 back there of Nick Ottinger. Trey Eidson and T-Love also back there trying to make something happen. Single file through this pack. Guys looking to see a mistake or try to create a mistake out of the driver in front of them. Closer up to the front, Cody Bias in position at number 4 has his hands full with PJ Sturgis in car number 57. Sturgis putting a little bit of pressure now in the 27, but a car length or a car length and a half between those two as they come off corner number 2.
Now here comes the cavalry, the 0-1, the 24, the 34, all looking around, get around the 29 of Kevin King. But let's also check out the 27. Let's see what he's doing up there. Cody Bias by himself, PJ Sturgis, Justin Bolton, Taylor Hurst, all single file in line by themselves. The excitement really happening around the 29, who just gave up not 1, not 2, but count them, 3 spots.
We got a car spinning out of corner number 4. Caution not on the racetrack, still under the green flag. Trying to get a number on that, but it's 4. That's Brian Day. He, Joe, did not have the start to the race and he won it. We are still under the green flag, though. And Kenny Humpy has still extended the lead now to 2 seconds over Ray Alfala.
Good news for the field is there's no yellow flag, because these yellow flags will mess you up. It will destroy any strategy you had coming into the race, which really, it's not what you want, not in the least. That's the good news for the rest of the field. The bad news is Brian Day, driving that Plan B sales number 4 Toyota, is going to have to figure out a Plan B of his own, because this will drop him a lap, if not 2, just trying to get back to speed out there on the track.
Yeah, that's one thing Brian Day did not want to have happen, at least in the early stages of this race. Meanwhile, back up front, you see the 10 of Corey Vincent. You're right on the roof of the 10 of Corey Vincent. That's Brian Blackford in front of him. That's the battle for position number 8 as they run down the back straightaway. Taylor Hurst in front of them by about a second, and behind them, it's about a second or so back to Chris Overland in car number 47, who has the 66. Benjamin Burmeister on his heels. So this is the point of the run, Joe, where guys are going to start fading a little bit, and guys are going to start pushing their way to the front of the field as we work lap number 29 of 167.
This is the part where you start getting comfortable with the car and you start seeing what it can do for the first time. Remember, this is the first time they're running this new rules package, if you will, on these Sprint Cup cars. It's one thing to practice. It's one thing to play with these different cars. That's the good news. The bad news is with these with this new dynamic model they're using is that they have to now, in race condition, something completely different. In race condition, it is a completely different situation. It's one thing to practice, one thing to play around with the model, but when they get here, when they're racing against some of the other best drivers in the world in this sim, everything goes to waste.
Your leader is Kenny Humpy now by 2.7 seconds over Ray Alfala, and Alfala is being run down by the Infinite Creative Solutions Tim's Corner Motorsports, number 13, Brad Mahar, in position number 3, less than a second between those two drivers, and then Cody Bias and PJ Sturgis complete your top 5. And Joe, you mentioned it, the dynamic weather changes constantly over the week, just like it would at the real Kentucky Speedway. These drivers coming into this race not really knowing what to expect weather-wise. They have to tweak the day of and hope that their setup is decently close prior to the race so they can get that car towards the front of the field. That's going to come down to pit stops as well, Joe. I'm sure a lot of these teams are anticipating the first pit stop because they may have hit their weather setup not completely correctly, and they'll make some changes there as the 57 has fallen back to Taylor Hurst, and we're about to have a battle for 5th.
Yes, we are. That is a fact. Fifth place now is about to heat up as PJ Sturgis is going to start after fighting off the 74 of Taylor Hurst, Justin Bolton in that mix as well. And then really it gets scattered out from there, which is exactly what we thought we would see at this point in the race. At this point, we figured everyone would be kind of running their own race, figuring out what they want to do, how they want to do it, except for position number 2. Ray Alfala, Brad Mahar, nose to tail there, position number 2 and 3. And one of two things happening there, Tim. Either they're working together or Brad Mahar wants to get in second place in case that yellow flag does come out, which it will.
And there goes Brad to the inside. The 13 car from Calais, Maine will make the move on the 2. Alfala fights back on the outside in the Wendell Scott Foundation. Number 2, side by side for position number 2. Drag race down the back straightaway. And Brad Mahar will get a shot into the corner, drives it in a little bit deeper than the number 2 will. And Brad Mahar will pick up the position. Alfala maybe look to cross over here at corner number 4. Can't get there. And Brad Mahar will go to P2.
So Brad Mahar positioning himself early in this race to try to pick up that extra position, to try to get in front of everyone else out there, and you can't blame him. This is a good position to be in right now on lap number 35, before the green flag pit stop start, before we see that rash yellow fever out there. This is a good place for him to be. He's now set up so that either one, when the green flag pit stops do happen, he can go in with the leaders and keep cycled in and stay in that second place position. And or number 2, when the yellow flags do start coming out, and let me tell you, they do come out very frequently here at Kentucky, Brad Mahar will be in a place where he can actually challenge for the lead. If not now, then definitely later in the race.
But you got to keep in mind, it's not going to be an immediate challenge because it's 3.5 seconds or so between your top 2. Behind them, Taylor Hurst is beginning to push his way to the front of the field. We've seen Taylor Hurst have brilliant lights, let's say, Joe, early in this season. A couple of brilliant runs, and then we've seen runs where we haven't talked about Taylor Hurst all night long. So this might be something to watch here. Hurst, especially on the longer run, he's looking like somebody that could contend for a win.
But it's also only 37 laps in. We've still got, 130 laps left to go here, Tim. It's good to see his car running strong. We know he's got the setup that can run this race as the weather progresses now under this new dynamic weather model. That's the good news for Taylor Hurst. The bad news is now his fate's in his own hands. With the equipment there, with the setup there, he knows he can have a good run tonight, but again, it's in his own hands. He now is in charge of responding positively, negatively, or otherwise to his race. And I've got a feeling he can do it tonight, and this might just be a turnaround for his luck for the rest of the season.
Great opportunity to turn it around, too, especially after that midsummer break. Hurst all over the back bumper of Cody Bias. Bias trying to hold on, and in turn, they're catching Ray Alfala. Alfala was good, Joe, for about 20 laps or so, and then it just like that car fell off the cliff, and it's falling like a stone in a pond because Alfala is falling and falling hard here, and he's got 5 cars behind him that are catching him. Not only is Bias and Hurst catching him, Sturgis and Bolton are, and Corey Vincent is as well. Alfala, when they come down pit road, might need to make a little bit of an adjustment to try to make that race car a little bit better on the longer run.
There's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be making a lot of adjustments when we come down to pit road, when we start having those green flag pit stops. So one guy who's not going to need to make any adjustment in the world is the driver of the number 58 machine, Mr. Kenny Humpy. He's strong out there. Right now he's got over a second on the race. He's got over 2 seconds on the rest of the field, closing in on 3 seconds on Brad Mahar and company. Kenny Humpy is by himself. I don't know what they put into that car, what the team has in Kenny Humpy's hood. But whatever it is, he's got it, and he's got it solid. And again, there's another driver who's got his fate in his own hands. If he just continues this run, it's, no pun intended, going to be a one-horse show all night long.
It's like we never left the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze series for a few weeks. Kenny Humpy continues to pick up where he left off prior to the break in the first 9 races of this season. Battle for position at number 3. Alfala is about 3 car lengths ahead of Bias, and you can just see coming off the corner, Joe, Ray Alfala really didn't have the speed compared to Cody Bias and Taylor Hurst. Obviously, we're on 42 lap old tires right now, but it's just like Alfala cannot get out of the corner. A little bit better there in corner number 4, but off of corner number 2 that last time by, it's almost like he can't get the grip to get that speed off of the corner and down the straightaway. Bias and Hurst just a wee bit better right here off corner number 2.
That is an absolute fact, and I think this is, again, you're seeing cars that are set up now for the long run. There's 2 schools of thought when you go into Kentucky or any of these mile-and-a-half tracks. Number 1, you're going to have yellow flags all night long, which means you can have a car that's set up for the short run, but you can adjust for mid or longer sized runs if you need to. Or number 2, secondary to that, you have a car that's set up for the long run that you can hope works on these long green flag runs all night long, and then adjust backwards if you need to. Guys like Cody Bias, Taylor Hurst, you see him as they start to close in on the 2 of Ray Alfala. They've got very good long run cars, and now it's just a matter of time before they start creeping up and start trying to get away, try to get past number 2.
And I'm not sure if they have anything for the top 2. Brad Maher's not that far ahead of this pack. It's only about 1.25 seconds or so between them, and I think if Cody Bias and Taylor Hurst can get past Ray Alfala, they might be able to start etching in it to that amount. But Kenny Humpy in the number 58 still out in front by about 2.5 seconds over Brad Maher, and at this point he might be saving a little bit himself in that race car, and he can afford to save a little bit with the gap that he has. They come across the stripe this time by, and Alfala has Cody Bias behind him by 1/10, and actually behind them there's another 3-car battle with PJ Sturgis, Justin Bolton, and Corey Vincent has caught this pack as well. So we have 2 3-car battles down the back straightaway.
Very interesting watching these guys pack up, and again, what you're going to notice here is these guys aren't doing any aggressive passing. You're not watching any of these drivers making any aggressive moves. Well, check that as soon as I say that. The 27 of Cody Bias gets inside the number 2 of Ray Alfala, and there you go. The 27 of Cody Bias, he's gone. He will get position number 3 away from Alfala. Taylor Hurst wants to join the party as well. Behind him, Justin Bolton's going to pick up position as well. And it looks like PJ Sturgis, Corey Vincent will pick up position as well over PJ Sturgis.
And as you mentioned, just in front of them, Ray Alfala falls back 2 positions. Hurst and Bias both make their move past. And as PJ Sturgis lost a position, Justin Bolton and Corey Vincent both made that spot up. So now they're going to chase Ray Alfala in car number 2, who has been dispatched to position number 5. Now, something we're going to have to watch here, Joe, as we get closer to pit stops. Cody Bias, Taylor Hurst, can they catch Brad Maher or make any time in before they have to come down pit road?
Well, that is the question, isn't it? Let's something as you speak of pit stops, a couple guys coming down pit road now. Ryan Lowe, Alan Bowes coming to the attention of their crews. Shane Doherty, Tom Lewandowski might be having some issues down there. He's been down there for a while. And Adam Gilden, Gary Mercer trucking machine, comes out of his stall. 4 tires, full tank of fuel for everybody involved. And Tim, dare I say it, the seal has been broken. Now the question is, who will be coming down pit road next?
Well, I think as soon as these guys decide to come down pit road, it's going to force the hand of some of these guys up in front. Kenny stays out, Brad going to stay out here, and the balance of your top 10 going to stay out as well. Here comes Tyler Hudson in the 01. That is 10th place, and he's going to come down pit road. And Joe, he's the lonely one within about the top 15 or so. Hudson, the only one down on pit road in this lap.
One is the loneliest number that you ever heard. Coming off pit road will be the 34, Matt Busa, Rob Ackley, Brandon Bowie, all coming off the pit road, off the attention of their crew. 4 tires, full tank of fuel for everybody. Tyler Hudson now in his stall as well. It will be left side, it'll be right sides, now left sides, 0-1. 4 tires, full tank of fuel. He will be down and away shortly as everybody tries to cycle back in for pit stops. Kevin King, the next one to come down pit road.
So Kevin King going to come down to the attention of his crew, and we wait to see, Joe, when do these guys in front come down? Kenny Humpy may have been saving the last couple laps, or Brad Mahar may have stepped it up. Caution on the speedway.
This is what we were waiting for, and those guys who came out on pit road like Kevin King, they just got left to wash. It looks like, it sounds like there was a 10 machine, Corey Vincent, that got off the wall, and that might have brought out the first caution flag. Tim, what'd you see?
It's Rattler and Adam Gilliland that I believe really sparked this off, and they go down the back straightaway. Gilliland slides in with David Rattler and goes all the way up the racetrack. Those two make contact. Gilliland comes down the racetrack, and you'd have to believe that the way Adam drives, he saw David Rattler coming down the racetrack as he's trying to slide and save it. Maybe he's trying to get into David Rattler, say, you know, I don't really appreciate that. Nevertheless, it's the 8 and the 09. They get together. The 8 goes for a slide. That will bring out our first caution on lap 50.
Yeah, the marbles are unfriendly here at Kentucky. Kentucky is known for being the northernmost area of southern hospitality. With that being said, the marbles here are not hospitable to anybody involved. And looks like Adam Gilliland learned that one the hard way as we get ready for wholesale pit stops this time by. Kenny Humpy will lead the entire field down to the attention of their crew. It'll be Brad Mahar, Cody Bias, Taylor Hurst, Ray Alfala. The funeral procession comes down pit road, and it will be Kenny Humpy, the first one to lead them.
We'll see if Humpy can be the first driver off pit road, or if anybody decides to gamble at the back that just came down pit road, maybe Tyler Hudson or somebody's going to stay out on this cycle. Humpy down to the attention of his crew. 2 virtual right side tires. We'll see if they do decide to take 4. Tyler Hill is going to be the first off pit road. 4 tires for Kenny Humpy. 4 tires for Brad Mahar. Cody Bias with a quick stop. And Bias is going to be second off pit road to the 13 of Brad Mahar.
Yeah, Tyler Hill missed his pit stall entirely, so he's going to have to come back around one more time to the attention of his crew. But it will be Kenny Humpy out first. Looks like Cody Bias comes off second, Mahar third, Taylor Hurst fourth, and Ray Alfala your top 5. Nothing real big changes in the top 5 this time by, except Cody Bias picks up position, and everyone else pretty much comes in the way they came on.
We will reset the lineup when we come back. We are working the first 50-lap segment, lap 53, at Kentucky for the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing.
Sorry, guys. I never would have thought making duck calls would have stirred up this much excitement.
No kidding. Got him coming up here.
Shortcut time!
That's what I'm talking about. You sure this is a good idea?
Oh, yeah. I got this.
I can't guarantee you how this will end, but Pete can guarantee your radiator for life. Introducing the Peak Run True Guarantee. Check it out at peakguarantee.com.
Welcome back to the Kentucky Speedway. Lights are out atop the pace car. We're getting ready to go racing. A lot of wave around cars here, Joe, as some drivers that did decide to come down pit road early before that caution flag flew were trapped a lap down. They're going to get the opportunity to get back on the lead lap here. Tyler Hill came down pit road to get service to his race car. So it's back up to the team up in front. Kenny Humpy and Cody Bias. Bias has never won a race in this series before. Neither has Brad Mahar or Taylor Hurst, who start in row number 2.
Let's not start calling winners just yet. We still have over 100 laps left to go here at Kentucky, and when that first caution flag, I've got a feeling there's a lot more coming to it. That being said, if we want to start talking about winners early, Kenny Humpy has been dominant so far in this race, and I think it's going to be a real tough little challenge to try to dethrone Kenny Humpy from the top of the hill.
The pace car will peel off to pit road this time by, and Kenny Humpy will remain the leader. There goes the pace car, and here comes Kenny Humpy. Quick, back to the hammer. Green flag flies. Cody Bias going to fall into line here. Not too soon, Joe. They have those restart rules where you can't change lanes. So Bias will fall into line into corner number 1. Brad Mahar to third, and Ray Alfala was quick on the first short run. We'll see where the short run gets him here in the Wendell Scott Foundation 2. He moves to 4th.
So Kenny Humpy back in the front of the field once again. It'll be Cody Bias second. Ray Alfala, looks like, no, check that. It'll be, looks like, yeah, Kenny Humpy in position number 1. I got to quit looking at the wrong notes there, Tim. Brad Mahar in second, the 13 and third, and now 74 and 2 doing business side by side.
2 of Ray Alfala now stuck on the outside. The 10 of Corey Vincent going to move underneath as well. Justin Bolton and PJ Sturgis next in line. You ride in a car with Ray Alfala on the outside line. You got Corey Vincent to the inside, and Ray Alfala will once again be dispatched outside the top 5.
Hung out to dry out there, and the 2-time champion continues to be hung out. The 2 will stay above the 36 of Justin Bolton, and you could say that as a team play, but I don't think teamwork has a whole lot to do with it. I think it's more opportunity now for the 36, who's just not going to let that 2 underneath him. Now here comes the 24. The 24 makes a big move underneath the 57 machine. The 57 belongs to PJ Sturgis.
PJ Sturgis trying to move towards the front of the field. Sturgis was a top 5 runner in that last run, but now he's got Nathan Wise to attend to the 2 of Ray Alfala and the 36 of Justin Bolton in this mix, and Chad Lawton trying to come back to the front of the field after his early slide in that first run of the race. You ride on the roof of the 24 of Nathan Wise, getting a nice look at the Wendell Scott Foundation number 2 of Ray Alfala.
Well, Alfala finally gets back into line, but I don't think he's in a very safe spot right now. That 24, Nathan Wise knocking on the door, and he wants to come in. The question is, will Ray Alfala have any other choice but to let him in? No choice. The 24 machine will get him in. Meanwhile, back up front, the top 4 starting to get a little busy up there. Kenny Humpy cannot command the lead he once had, and it will be Bias, Taylor Hurst, and either Brad Mahar or Corey Vincent going to do battle for position number 4.
They're going to go at it for that spot. Brad Mahar, Taylor Hurst, those guys going at it. The 74 moving up in the 27 of Cody Bias. And then Kenny Humpy, your leader, continuing to pace the field around here. But Taylor Hurst, he's been making a lot of the early headlines in this race. Joe coming up from position number 16 to 3rd and maybe to 2nd. Here he goes underneath the number 27 of Cody Bias.
So the 74 of Taylor Hurst, he's hungry tonight. He is digging as hard as he can out there. On lap number 61, he sees the front, and he does not want to let Kenny Humpy to get in his way at all. He does not want to lose sight of Kenny Humpy, I should say, because if he does, that could be the end of the race. Taylor Hurst now position number 2, Corey Vincent 3rd, Cody Bias 4th, and Brad Mahar round out your top 5.
We haven't seen many people, Joe, other than maybe his teammates, run up and pass Kenny Humpy under green. Taylor Hurst is looking to do that right now. Hurst at a corner number 4, all over the back bumper of Kenny Humpy. Taylor Hurst looking to do something that not many have done this season. Great run into corner number 1 here on the back bumper of the 58, and Humpy has company in Taylor Hurst.
Yes, he does, and now it's getting real busy up front. That first set of pit stops is exactly what they needed to shake this field up just a little bit. So now, Kenny Humphrey, who at one point commanded a 3-second lead on this field, has his lead narrowed to about maybe a quarter panel at most. Now here comes the 74. Taylor Hurst will get around Kenny Humphrey, and we have our first official lead change of the night.
And the 10 of Corey Vincent is there as well. Vincent drawing close to the top two. And the 58 going to have some more company here in the 10 of Corey Vincent. And Vincent started back in position number 17. And he's going to go to the inside of Kenny Humphrey here. And Humphrey falling back a little bit at this point. But it's two drivers that started well outside the top 15. Joe Hurst started 16th. Vincent started 17th. They're now leading this race.
That they are. Taylor Hurst, Corey Vincent, Kenny Humphrey, Cody Bias, Nathan Wise, now your top five. And when you look at this top five, consider where they started. Taylor Hurst started 16th. Corey Vincent started 17th. Cody Bias in third, he started 5th. But Nathan Wise, your hard charger of the night so far, he started all the way out in 25th. He's now running position number 5. Whatever adjustments those drivers made, they made the right ones, and now they are reaping the benefits of it with a little over 100 laps left to go.
You ride on the roof of Corey Vincent, looking up at Taylor Hurst as they go at it for the lead. There is a couple of car lengths between them, but those are your top two drivers. And then you have Humpy and Bias and Nathan Wise in the top 5. Brad Mahar behind him, falling back here, and PJ Sturgis in position number 7. Maybe these guys, Joe, are anticipating a longer green flag run. Maybe they're trying to save something here. At least those guys that were running up front. And I'm talking Humpy, Bias, Brad Mahar, a couple of those guys that were running up in the top 5, Ray Alfala being one of them. And Ray's fallen all the way back to 11th right now.
Something's wrong with that 2 machine, though, the Wendell Scott Foundation board. I'm not exactly sure what it is. It might just be a fact they did not set up this car for these long green flag runs. Again, 2 schools of thought you can go to Kentucky, and I think they chose the short run opposed to the long run, and now Ray Alfala is starting to pay for it a little bit. He was solidly in second. He's now shuffled back down all the way to position number 11, and that's just not a good position for him. That's not where he wants to be right now in this race, but we still have 99 laps left to go when they cross the start-finish line, so it's still anybody's race. Don't count them out yet, but they do need to make an adjustment on that car if they want to get it where they want it to be.
There goes the 13 of Brad Mahar to the inside of the 27 of Cody Bias, and the 57 is going to take the opportunity to go by as well. So Cody Bias will lose 2 positions. Mahar up to 5th, Sturgis up to 6th, and Cody Bias will move back to position number 7. Taylor Hurst, Corey Vincent top 2, and it looks like, Joe, for the most part, behind them within the top 10 or so. Everybody seems to be single file. I see Jake Sturgis back here flashing the nose on Brian Blackford, or at least getting close to the 33. So Sturgis looking to possibly move up a little bit here in the middle stages of this race.
It's entirely possible. Right now is when you really start supporting yourself and start making your way up front and start wanting to position yourself to where you want to be. One of those drivers doing just that is the 05 of Nick Ottinger. The Ream Toyota is now starting to make his way up front. He's side by side with the 36 of Justin Bolton. They'll be nose to nose at the line, but then as soon as they get to turn number 1, give the advantage to Ottinger as he's now starting to slowly make his way up front.
He's moved up 22 positions since the start of the race. Ottinger up to position number 9. You got Justin Bolton now behind the number 05. So Ottinger really needs a good run here. Joe, we've documented the struggles of his season so far. Good to see Ottinger well within the top 10. Scored this time by in position at number 8. And just in front of them, they're about to get busy, or they were busy for a moment. It was the 27 of Cody Bias in the back bumper of PJ Sturgis. So Ottinger on the move towards the front of the field.
Ottinger on the move in the hurry. Up front, no changes. Taylor Hurst, Corey Vincent still nose to tail, but they're starting to get a run out there. They've got 1.3 seconds over Kenny Humpy, and that lead is not looking to go away anytime soon. Nathan Wise, Brad Mahar, PJ Sturgis, Cody Bias, Nick Ottinger, Justin Bolton, and Chad Lawton, your top 10 right now, and really everyone else starting to be getting single file and spread out once again, as we tend to see here at Kentucky. The closest battle so far, right in the second, is Michael J. Johnson, who just got the pass on the 66 of Ben Burmeister. Now the 83 machine of Alex Warren, or check out Thomas Davies, is going to try to get around Burmeister. No dice that time by, but the 83, he's looking.
Battle for the lead getting close as well, Joe. Corey Vincent on the back bumper at Taylor Hurst. Less than a car length between your top two, and I'm sure Vincent wants to try to take away a lap lead here. Behind them, Nathan Wise has taken position number 3 away from Kenny Humpy, and the 13 of Brad Mahar runs in position number 5, not too far off that battle for position number 3. Nevertheless, the 10 looking at the 74 once again. We could have another battle for the lead on our hands. 74 completed here on the 74.
74 complete on the 74, less than 100 to go, and I've got a feeling some of these guys, with that yellow flag being timed so perfectly, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've got a feeling some of these guys are going to try to make this a 2 pit stop race. I think normally you try to make this a 3 flag race or a 3 stop race, but if we have another caution flag, it could be a 3 stop race. But if we don't, if we keep going caution free the rest of the race, I've got a feeling some of these guys are going to try to push it to be a 2 stop race.
Yeah, we could see some strategy being played out here in the second half of this event that could very well change the complexion and possibly change what we see up in front of the field. Taylor Hurst, Corey Vincent, your top 2, and we're looking at approximately halfway or so through this stint. Was talking to the crew chief of Landon Harrison, of course, that's J.D. Laird, and he was thinking around 55 laps or so that 89 could go. And Joe, that's usually one of those race cars. I'd like to ask those guys, like the Jake Sturgises, the Landon Harrisons, those crews, because they tend to stretch a little bit further than even what they say they can go. So he says 55, and that's a fluctuating number, I would think.
Definitely a fluctuating number. Nothing is certain out here. Is it ever really certain, though? That is the $64,000 question out here. Let's go back now to the position battle for position number 7. Cody Bias, one of the members of the team, trying to fight off the 05 of Nick Ottinger, the Gale Force Racing driver. He's going to try to go high. It looks like he might be doing a pseudo crossover. No, he might instead be trying to follow the 27 around the 57 of BJ Sturgis. They're starting to get bunched up now, and someone's going to start making a move. The question is who and when.
Rear bumper of the 27 of Cody Bias looking back at Nick Ottinger, and the 57 of PJ Sturgis is going to flash in here as well because he's now behind him. But here comes the 05 of Ottinger, 27 slide job on the 57, and I'm sure the 57 probably, Joe, did not really anticipate that, and I'm sure he's going to think about that the next time he's by that number 27. 05 going to make the move on PJ Sturgis to move up the position number 7, and now he'll chase Cody Bias.
Yeah, Tim, but this is not a track you want to retaliate at, and I'll tell you why. This is not a track that you want to retaliate at because, number one, the track is a very, very short memory. If you try to make that retaliation, there's a very good chance that you could get caught up in your own little problem there as well. And number two, you don't want to retaliate here because it can create a chain reaction through the traffic really, really quickly.
The 9 car of Tyler Hill got sideways mid-pack, and he's going to lose a bunch of positions. He's back to 24th, and actually that battle behind him is actually pretty entertaining. It's the 54, Brandon Bowie, Landon Harrison, the 21 of Alan Bowes, and I believe that might be Rob Ackley back there as well, Joe. Pretty entertaining battle back there behind the number 9 of Tyler Hill, and Hill is going to have his hands full with the 5-4 of Brandon Bowie. These guys mid-pack, definitely getting at it right now. The 89 and the 21 putting on a show back here side by side.
Well, when you have nothing to lose, when you have nothing to run for, you can get a little dangerous out there and see what you can do to improve your position forward. Taylor Hurst still up front. Corey Vincent still in second. Kenny Humpy now relegated to position number 4 as Nathan Wise, the 24 machine, finally gets around him. And now there's Brad Mahar. Brad Mahar qualified third, and he's got an opportunity now to get around Kenny Humpy. The question is, will he take that opportunity, and more importantly, when will he take that opportunity?
Brad's car typically comes in the middle of the run on. We saw it at least in the first run, that's what it did, but Kenny Humpy maybe starting to get a little bit stronger here, maybe starting to find his footing a little bit. We have one car coming off pit road, and that is the 15, I believe, of Patrick Crabtree. He is 1 lap down right now, and he should be 2 laps down, I do believe, the next time they come across the scoring loop. But nevertheless, maybe some early pit stops here. Maybe some short pitting here, Joe. You mentioned the strategy coming into play. Maybe that's what Crabtree's thinking right now.
I think everyone's thinking strategy at this point. Everybody's thinking, what can we do to improve our position and improve our opportunities to win this race? As you ride in the car of Corey Vincent, you notice he's not riding the 74 near as hard as he was. He is now content to let there be about 4 car lengths between those 2 cars. But I've got a feeling Corey Vincent is trying something here. I think he's trying to let that pony run in front of him just a little bit, and so he can conserve his stuff, so that when him and the 74 come down pit road, eventually it'll be a much more competitive race down the line.
Oh, when you look at it, we're in that 100 lap box show. We talked about 50 to 55 laps or so on a stint. If you pit here, you have to make one more stop anyway. I don't think you're going to make it to the point where you can make it to whatever that number is that you feel comfortable with making it 117, 115, 110, and then go the rest of the way on fuel. I definitely think it's a 2-stop race from here on out. I think those guys back there that are outside the top 20 are hoping that they can throw a Hail Mary with some of this short pitting and possibly win a race. We saw Alex Warren earlier in the season do it.
It is possible. Let's not write off anything here. Kentucky Speedway has been known for some very entertaining, very wild racing all the way throughout the field. And guys, this is going to be the place. If you're going to try to make a Hail Mary, if you're going to try to steal one from the front runners, this is the place you do it. You know, it's not a bad thing. It adds to the competition, but it adds to competitiveness. That is the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing.
But you look at wild racing right now, we've had 1 caution in this race. That 1 caution was for guys that were running 35th in the field as these guys continue to work on. If you want to get involved in iRacing, you like what you see here, there's a promo at the bottom of the screen. You can type that into the promo code when you sign up to iRacing. If you are a new member, we'll give you 3 months for the price of 1, and we'll also give you the late model stock. So take a look at that promo, write it down. I'm sure you don't want to open a new tab right now because you're still watching this here, but be sure to write down that's still going to be good after the race, Joe. Write that promo down, and then you can get in on iRacing. You never know, you could see yourself here in the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series.
Wilder things have happened. Field spread out. Let's take you through the top 10 real quick and kind of give you an idea of where everyone is at this point in the race. Taylor Hurst starting to break away. Started 16th in the field, was 9th fastest in the happy hour before the race. He is now sitting in first, and he's got almost over a half second over second place Corey Vincent. Corey Vincent, another hard charger. He started caddy corner to the 74 of Taylor Hurst, and now he's just content riding in second until we have our second set of 3 of green flag pit stops, assuming the yellow flag doesn't come out beforehand. Nathan Wise, so far one of your hardest chargers on the field, was not fast in happy hour, was not fast in qualifying, but now finds his way to position number 3 over your points leader, Kenny Humpy, who's sitting in 4th after that his first and only yellow flag pit stop. Brad Mahar, who qualified 3rd, is still hanging tough in 5th, but not exactly where he wants to be. 3 seconds behind your leader, Cody Bias. Nick Ottinger, about a car length between those 2 cars, running in 6th and 7th respectively. Nick Ottinger, another hard charger, has picked up 23 spots on the field. Started 30th, now 7th. Justin Bolton all by himself, PJ Sturgis and Chad Lawton rounding out your top 10, 5 seconds away from the leader.
So that is your top 10 right now as we begin to work up on the second complete round of green flag pit stops. We tried to get green flag pit stops into the first round, about lap 50 or so, and then we had a caution flag fly. So we'll see if these guys can cleanly get through these pit stops. You ride on the roof of Nick Ottinger, and there's Cody Bias right in front of the number 05 as they work up at a corner number 2 and run down the back straightaway. 92 being worked on the board.
So far, nobody throwing their hand out the window just yet. So far, nobody figuring out what they want to do or when they want to come out. And I've got a feeling we're going to see it. This is going to be a very last-minute decision. It's going to be a crew chief saying, all right, this time bye, and then you might not even see the hand go out. You're just going to see him down on pit road, and that's going to be the end of it right there. So strategy now getting more and more critical, as I think you've got a couple guys who are looking as hard as they can, trying to figure out what they want to do and how they want to do it and how they want to come down pit road. And everyone's kind of looking at Taylor Hurst right now to see when he comes down pit road, because as he goes, so will the rest of the field.
Yeah, the head of the leader is going to be probably forced, Joe, by some of those guys behind him as we continue to work under the green flag. You look back there, we saw the first round of green flag pit stops. Some guys outside the top 15 decided to come down pit road. You had Tyler Hudson pit from the top 10. Then it would have forced the hand of those guys up in front, but then the caution flag flew. So have to take a look at that and see what does decide to transpire between those guys up in front and where they do go back.
So Taylor Hurst continues to lead, and as you were saying there, it's really going to be a matter of when people come down pit road and how they come down pit road. As now the 6 of Trey Eisen's going to have no problem getting around Chris Overland. So for Trey Eisen now position number 15. Jim, it's going to be very interesting to see what and how strategy comes to play here at the end of the race, especially with everybody kind of running their own grid strategy right now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this changes everything. These guys are definitely, from here on in, going to have to make 2 pit stops. I would say, Joe, to close off this race, I don't think anybody's going to make it on one. If they do, they're going to have to stretch it in a big way in order to make it on 1 pit stop from here, because we did come down pit road at approximately lap 51 or so. I don't think there's anybody that can make it on 1 more stop, but then again, I've been wrong in the past. Taylor Hurst, Corey Vincent, top 2, 0.8 of a second between your top 2. 13:58 is a battle that is going on for position number 4, and I believe in front of them, that is Nathan Wise. He is position number 3, not too far ahead of it. There goes Brad to the inside of the 58 of Kenny Humpy. They're going to go side by side, and Brad Mahar will move to position number 4. Great run for him so far tonight.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Kenny Humpy, who was dominant for the beginning of this race, who is so strong at the top of this race, he has fallen back. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 5 positions. 5 positions, Tim. And I gotta wonder, either number 1, something happened to that car when they came down pit road. Either adjustment, maybe a wedge, maybe a track bar adjustment, I don't know. But something, maybe they made it, either 1, maybe they made an adjustment to that car, or number 2, it's equally possible that Kenny Humpy is playing the strategy game right now. He's playing the conservation game, trying to make sure he doesn't overwork that 58 machine on the track. And that is possible. That is entirely could be a thing.
Could he possibly have anticipated those guys in front of him? And I'm talking Taylor Hurst and Corey Vincent, maybe more than Nathan Wise and Brad Mahar, who he's hanging with right now. Could he maybe anticipated Taylor and Corey to burn their stuff up a little bit quicker than Kenny thought? And now, since they're not, Hurst and Vincent have that lead, and Kenny Humpy sitting there 2.9 seconds behind. Maybe that's something that he thought that they were going to come back to him as the run went on, but nevertheless, it doesn't look like that is happening right now. The 89 of Landon Harrison coming off pit road. We work lap number 101. We've completed the first 100 laps, 67 laps to go, and you'd have to believe with these guys starting to head towards pit road, Joe, this is going to force the hand of some of those leaders up in front.
Well, remember, Landon Harrison he also made an early pit stop to begin the green flag pit stops. Now David Rattler will come down to the attention of his crew this time behind the 09, bringing it down to the 55-mile-per-hour speed limit here on pit road at Kentucky Speedway. those guys already came down early. Those guys came down before anyone else did, before we had that first caution flag to start the wholesale pit stop. So I'm not so concerned about them. What I am more concerned about is when everyone in the top 15 starts coming down. Because if my memory serves me right, Tyler Hudson was one of the guys who came down under green. Jake Sturgis might have been. And the 29 of Kevin King was one of those drivers who came down under the green flag as well. So when those guys start coming down pit road, that's when I think I'm going to start trying to figure out when I want to make my way down pit road as well.
Hurst has expanded his lead to 1.1 seconds over Corey Vincent. He's tacked on a couple of tenths the last couple laps on Corey Vincent, as we see Hurst bypass pit road this time by, so he'll complete lap 103 on the racetrack. It looks like everybody, for the most part, within the top 10 staying out. I see Chad Lawton has his hands full with Tyler Hudson back here. The 26 and the 01 are going at it for positions 9 and 10, and Tyler Hudson was really pushing towards the front of the field, Joe, in that first stint prior to coming down pit road. Not surprising to see Tyler Hudson excelling in this later half of this run.
The 8 of Adam Gillen comes off pit road. Another early pitter comes off. Rob Ackley, the same thing. Now on pit road. He's another early pitter. Looks like we have another driver maybe coming off pit road. Not quite yet. 24 now is going to come down to the attention of his crew. The 24 is Nathan Wise, and he is going to be the first of the top 10 group that's going to come down to the attention of his crew.
Yeah, and he comes down, Joe, from position number 3, so this might end up forcing the hand of Hurst, Vincent, Brad Mahar, the rest of those guys up in front. Clean in so far for that driver. Watch Taylor Hurst. He comes down pit road here, the 74 car. Going to come down to the attention of his crew. It'll hand the lead over to Corey Vincent. Behind him, here comes Kenny Humpy down on pit road. So Humpy and Hurst among those on pit road on lap 105.
So Taylor Hurst will come down pit road. Kenny Humpy will come down pit road. And those two drivers will be the only ones this time around that will come to the attention of their crew. Let's follow along in the box with the 74 of Taylor Hurst. Right sides go up. Left side should go up in just a moment. It should be a 4-tire stop for Hurst and a full tank of virtual Sunoco racing fuel. Don't anticipate any changes to that. Nope. He's going to drop it, and he'll be down and away. Taylor Hurst gets it going back to the right way, and he will beat the Kenny Humpy off of pit road.
Corey Vincent stays out on the racetrack for one more lap. We'll see if he decides to come down pit road at the end of 107. Brad Mahar, Nick Ottinger, Cody Bias, and Justin Bolton also remaining on the racetrack. Those are your top 5 as they run, and Vincent will bypass pit road here. Brad Mahar will not. The 13 will come down. His teammate in the 05, and Nick Ottinger also heading down pit road here at the completion of 107.
Michael J. Johnson comes off pit road, 4 tires, full tank of fuel. Brandon Bowie, the same thing. And Trey Hodson now coming off pit road. Tyler Hudson coming off pit road this time by as well. I've got a feeling that those front runners, they're starting to play strategy games up there. They're trying to extend this run as long as they can so that they can make this a 2-stop race. Brad Mahar now into the attention of his crew. 4 tires, full tank of fuel. Will it be a clean stop for the 13 team? Yes, it will be. 13 down and away.
Here comes the team. Cody Bias, Justin Bolton, and Chad Lawton coming down to the attention of their crew. PJ Sturgis, Jake Sturgis, Chris Overland, Brian Blackford, LMR, and Slip Angle second all the way back to position number 5, staying out in the racetrack. Does Corey Vincent come down this time? No, he does not. Vincent stays out on the racetrack to complete 109 on the racing surface.
He is stretching it out there. I know what he's trying to do as Alex Scribner comes off pit road. He's doing everything he can to get every drop of fuel out of his car in order to try to make this a 1-stop race. At this point, at lap 110, he would only have about 57, 58 laps to make in that car, and it's going to be a stretch, but I think he can make it. I think he can go the entire way. He might need the help of a yellow flag, but he might be able to go all the way. Danny Hansen will come down at this time by.
So PJ Sturgis behind Jake Sturgis coming down pit road. Chris Overland is staying out on the racetrack, and Brian Blackford staying out on the racetrack as well, as will Ray Alfala in car number 2. Yeah, I didn't think, Joe, anybody could make it on one stop from that first caution flag, but I think these guys may be able to stretch it. Corey Vincent coming down onto pit road here to the attention of his crew. If he wants to go the rest of the way, Joe, it's what, 57 laps now?
57 plus or minus 56 if you don't count this lap he's on right now. Corey Vincent will come into pit road this time by. He will hand over the lead to Overland, and Overland looks like he's not going to be coming up front. He's going to come down this time by, it sounds like. Two other drivers past him. It's going to be the 57 of Sturgis, the 5, Michael Conti. Sturgis comes in, Conti comes out. Meanwhile, back at the pit stall of the 10 of Corey Vincent, it's 4 tires, full tank of Sunoco fuel, down and away.
Overland slowing down here, and he'll come down onto pit road, as will Brian Blackford in car number 32 or 33. Check that. That should put the cycle of pit stops back. Alfala and Tucker also down. That should hand the lead back over Taylor Hurst, I think, in the 74. 2 seconds or so between Hurst and Humpy. This should hand the lead back over here within a lap or so to Taylor Hurst. Burmeister may have stayed out on the racetrack here.
Now down on pit road, the 2 of Ray Alfala and the 33 of Brian Blackford, the 28 of Casey Tucker, the 47 of Overland, and you're right, that should pretty much complete the round of stops for everybody involved on the track. Currently the 66 of Benjamin Burmeister was your leader. He will come in, and now that should hand, you're absolutely right, that with everything else, that should hand the 74 of Taylor Hurst the lead once again, and Taylor Hurst finds himself in comfortable company there. In front of him is Dave Grattler. Behind him is the 50 of Alex Scribner. And the good news is for Taylor Hurst, with those 2 cars between him, he can kind of put it in cruise control and do a little conservation right now, knowing that he's got 2 seconds over Kenny Humpy, he's got 4 seconds over Nathan Wise, and almost 6 seconds over Corey Vincent.
Yeah, that's a very comfortable lead right now, albeit if you're racing Kenny Humpy, no lead is comfortable, Joe. But right now, Taylor Hurst is extending that lead, or extended that lead the last lap by another 10th. Hurst last time by was a 29.97 to Humpy's 30.02. So he extended the lead a little bit that last time by. Taylor Hurst looking good right now, but we've seen these races before come down to cautions and quick sprints. This race so far, Joe, 115 laps, way past the halfway point with only 1 caution. I'm going to knock on wood. It looks good so far.
So far, so good as they run 3 wide. The 10 and the 13 all trying to do a little business. Now the 10, the 13, the 66 still almost 3 wide, 2 wide for the most part through this group. To 10 of Corey Vincent will win it so far, but Brad Mahar still low, and he keeps digging, trying to get away from that 66. He'll make the pass with the 66 once crossover.
66 not for position at this point, as Brad Mahar tries to subside that battle with the 66. The 66 of Burmeister scored in 32nd position right now. Brad Mahar in position at number 5, and about 0.3 of a second back from Corey Vincent in car number 10. And keep in mind, Joe, that 66 of Benjamin Burmeister was just down on pit road, but I'm sure Brad Mahar wants to get by him and doesn't really want to burn his stuff up, and he's racing that 66 mighty aggressively right now.
He is racing that 66 very aggressively. That time gave him a little warning shot, it looks like. Gave him a little shot of, hey, look, this is my track here too, buddy, and you're not racing for position, so why don't you let me get by and try to do a little business up front, because, you know, that Benjamin Burmeister, he's in 32nd, and the 13, oh, look at him, he's getting sideways out. 13 is not happy. He's driving awfully aggressive, trying to get back to that 66. We could see some sparks flying here real quick.
Yeah, the 13 of Brad Mahar, you do have to feel a little bit for him being on the lead lap, but the 66 with those new tires, we'll see how that subsides here. Right now, for the time being, Brad Mahar back in position number 5, and his teammate Nick Ottinger behind him. And look who's behind Ottinger. Tyler Hudson well within the top 10 right now in position number 7. Great run for the Peak Ford Fusion. On the back bumper, the 05 of Ottinger. That is a battle for position at number 6.
Why, yes, that is. Nick Ottinger, Tyler Hudson, nose to tail for position number 6. And Hudson wants to try to break into the top 6 this time by. May not happen, though, as Nick Ottinger stays in front of him and is now getting a car length lead over the 0-1 of Tyler Hudson. Hudson still wants to try to make the pass, though, but he may not have that opportunity. It may take him a couple more to wind that car up again.
Oh, the 0-1 sideways at a corner number 4. Great save by Tyler Hudson, but he's going to lose a bunch of time on the 0-5 of Nick Ottinger. He's probably going to lose about a half second or so between himself and Ottinger. He's going to have to try to get up on the horse and try to make his way back up towards him. Meanwhile, the 13 has caught the 66 again, and the 13, I believe, will drive by him without any trouble. And the LRM 66 of Benjamin Burmeister, he's trying hard to get back to that 13 of Brad Mahar, but he can't get there at a corner number 4.
No, he can't get there at corner number 4, and I think Benjamin Burmeister may just have to let this one go. It wasn't for position, buddy, and think about the bigger picture. We're only on lap 22. We've still got over 40 laps to go left in this feature tonight, and sometimes discretion is the better part of valor, which is, if I were a spotter, I would be reminding my drivers that right about now, especially Corey Vincent, who's caught up to the 24 of Nathan Wise.
3 seconds between your top 2. Nathan Wise in the number 24 runs in position number 3, but he's got Corey Vincent to the back bumper, and this is about 2 seconds behind Kenny Humpy. Close quarter there is David Rattler ahead of these two as they battle for position number 3 and move Corey Vincent up to the 3rd place position. Nathan Wise back to 4th as we will come by this time and complete lap 123. Closing in on that checkered flag. Could be the first for Taylor Hurst if he can hold on to it.
If he can hold on, that is the $64,000 question, isn't it? I keep using that phrase tonight, but I think it's apt. As Corey Vincent gets around Nathan Wise, so they'll move to the back. So move Corey Vincent up to position number 3, Kenny Humpy in 2nd. And here's the cool thing, interesting thing to me. Taylor Hurst says almost 3 seconds over Kenny Humpy. That is almost identical to the peak of Kenny Humpy's lead over the rest of the field. So Taylor Hurst could be looking at his first win. Once again, his fate is in his own hands.
Battle back here for 3rd continues to wrap around some lap cars. Alex Scribner going to go 1 lap down as Vincent and Wise work their way around the 50. Top 2 are 3 seconds between each other, but Taylor Hurst, I believe, will have some lap traffic as well to contend with, including, I believe that's Adam Gilliland in front of the leader. He was the one to bring out our first caution flag of the evening. Got Brandon Bowie. There's Michael Conti in car number 5, and Alan Bowes in car number 21 ahead of the leader. And Hurst will go around Adam Gilliland to put Gilliland in the Gary Mercer trucking number 8, 1 lap down.
1 yellow flag so far in tonight's race, which totally blows my mind, because I thought we were at least going to see a little rash of yellow fever, especially here towards the end. When Taylor Hurst gets back to the start-finish line, we'll be working 40 laps left to go here at Kentucky Speedway as you watch him off the roof of that 74 machine right in front of him. He's a 5 Michael Conti, the 54 of Brandon Bowie, and the 21 of Alan Bowes up in front. So Taylor Hurst, he's in good company right now. He's got plenty of opportunity to get around these cars or even run behind them and not sacrifice that big lead he's got on Kenny Humpy. But he might want to think about his contingency plan. Is Kenny Humpy now starting to catch up to him? 1/10 of a second, last 2 laps by.
Oh, that was a close call for Nick Ottinger in the 05 as he caught Benjamin Burmeister and Danny Hansen going side by side. And Ottinger clears the 66, barely. Tyler Hudson going to have to get through this mess as he goes to the inside of the 32 with Danny Hansen, and he'll close in on the 66 of Benjamin Burmeister. That's the one disadvantage, Joe, of a long green flag run. It doesn't matter where you are. Most of your leaders right now are encountering some sort of lap traffic as the 5 of Conti going to go 1 lap down here.
No, you're absolutely right. And the other problem at this juncture in the race, being at this point, is you've got a long way to go before you can ultimately make it to the green flag. We're looking, I was looking at the numbers, and if I'm right, these guys, these leaders, Taylor Hurst, Kenny Humpy, they're going to have to do about 60 laps on this green, if we stay green flag, 60 and some change. If we stay on this green flag run the entire time, they're going to have to make it all the way through on 60 laps on tires and fuel this time by. 6-lap difference between the 74 and the 10. So advantage right now goes to Corey Vincent, Taylor Hurst, and Kenny Humpy. Even though Humpy's starting to dig, they're both going to have to play some conservation in order to get up front, stay up front, and win this race.
Neat little tidbit here. Alex Warren was one of the first to come down pit road, Joe, on the green flag pit stop stint since we started. Went back to green around lap 55 or so. He's back down on pit road right now. So keep a half eye on that and see if anybody else has to follow him down pit road to get fuel in these race cars. We mentioned these guys trying to push it. We might see some guys try to push it that aren't up front, but Joe, can you really risk it if you're up front to not come down and get a splash and go?
I think depending on what happens at the later end of this race, you may not have a choice. With less than 4 to go at this point, you may have to stay out front. You may have to just try to work it and see what happens. Now, if a yellow flag comes out, the complexion changes everything once again. And I'd say that because under a yellow flag, they can come down pit road. They can get the changes done they want to make, or they can try to stay out and conserve a little bit. Don't count out the Mr. Yellow Flag just yet, because he could definitely have a presence in this race yet.
And keep in mind, Corey Vincent was a couple laps later than the rest of the field coming down into pit road. Could very well be Corey Vincent's race if something does happen, or maybe a PJ Sturgis, a Jake Sturgis, Ray Alfala, 33 of Brian Blackford. And there's a name we haven't talked a whole lot about, Joe. Ray Alfala was shot out of a cannon early in the night, but right now he runs all of P21 at 25 seconds behind the leader. And it looks like Ray Alfala may be one of the next ones to go a lap down. He's down the back straightaway right now, and Taylor Hurst can see him from the windshield. I don't know if we can get an onboard camera with the 74 or not. He's got a lot of lap traffic ahead of him, including Alfala, Blackford, and just in front of him, that is Brandon Bowie in the 54. He has already gone 1 lap down. That would be a 2nd lap down if the leader can catch him. Tyler Hill is 22nd. That's the 2nd car in front of Taylor Hurst.
So the good news is, if you're up front and you're considering what your options are, it can be done. You can make the long run. Ray Alfala in that Wendell Scott Foundation Ford, he did 60 laps last time around. He was able to do that and make it work for him. Now the question is, can he do it over here, and can they do it on this run? They are going to have a little more than 60 to run if they want to go from now to from pit stop to checkered flag. It can be done, but the question is, do you want to? The yellow flags, I think, going to dictate pit strategy at this juncture in the race, so I could be wrong.
Brandon Bowie looking back at the leader, Taylor Hurst, as Hurst put him a lap down, and here comes the 54 back to the inside. Not sure what Brandon Bowie is doing there, but we'll see if Taylor Hurst can get back past that number 54. Bowie's looking for a yellow, I would think, Joe, but he's going to fall 2 laps down here, which means he would have to get the wave around and another quick yellow in order to come back down to pit road. It's the ship has sailed, I think, for Brandon Bowie. It might be too little, too late. Taylor Hurst going to try to get back at that number 54 here.
Yes, he is, but you're right. It is too little, too late. He's getting yellow flags, and there's a lot of guys who are scattered in this field hoping for a bunch-up restart one more time here. Now the question is, can they get it, or will they get it? Everybody is racing here masterfully. They're putting on a clinic on how to run Kentucky Speedway. So now you're leaving yourself up the chance, and that is not where you want to be this late in the race.
Humpy catching Hurst by hundredths, not tenths, hundredths of a second. And with the 74 in traffic and Kenny Humpy not, he's going to have to pick up the pace a little bit. Taylor Hurst on the inside once again of Brandon Bowie to try to put Bowie in the rearview mirror, and then it's Tyler Hill ahead of the number 74. 54 going to fall back behind. We'll see if he does decide to do anything crazy going down into corner number 3. I don't think he's going to be close enough to do that, but this last lap by Taylor Hurst, a 30.27 to a 30.22 for Kenny Humpy. Both were in traffic that last lap by, so it's still Humpy catching him by hundredths, Joe. He's going to need to pick up that steam a little bit here in these later laps. We are less than 30 laps to go until the finish.
You ride in car now with a 74, Taylor Hurst. Tyler Hill, the 9 machine, right in front of him. And Taylor Hurst has got to figure out how to get around him. The 9's not going to give him a whole lot of fight. The 74 will go low, and that will be that. So now Taylor Hurst puts another car between him and the 58 of Kenny Humpy. Now, Kenny Humpy has been very slowly, very gradually picking up time on Taylor Hurst. Last time around, it was only 2.3 seconds. This time around, Kenny Humpy won't pick up any time. In fact, he'll lose a tenth of a second. So now Taylor Hurst will be happy to bury as much traffic as he can between him and Kenny Humpy, not only for the aero boost, if you will, but also because that means it's another car Kenny Humpy has to fight harder to pass.
And keep an eye on that too, because Taylor Hurst, the last couple laps, Joe, the last 5 or so, was in traffic dealing with the 54, and now Hurst clear of traffic. He turns a 30.29 that time by to Kenny Humpy's 30.34, and both were in clean air. I think the only way in these next couple laps Kenny Humpy is going to catch Taylor Hurst is if Taylor Hurst gets into some more traffic and Kenny can really turn the wick up here. That's given that they don't need to come down pit road, or they're conserving enough to make it to the end of the race. Ray Alfalo, we're being told, went 60 laps in that last stint. If he can do that, he will finish this race on the racetrack, barring any caution flag or whatever else. It's just the other 20 or 19 ahead of him, depending what they do.
Again, you don't want to put anything to chance at this juncture in the race with less than 30 to go, coming up to 20 to go in a few laps here, 25-ish about right now. You don't want to leave yourself a chance. You don't want to put yourself in that position. And the more you put yourself in that position, the more dangerous it gets for you if you're trying to win this race. Taylor Hurst knows exactly what's going on. The good news for him, though, is he is in clear traffic. No one around him. He's got a lot of opportunity right this second. So if you're him, you're hoping that you keep this run going, you make it all the way to the checkered flag. Even if you cross the line without any gas, you still cross the line, and hopefully crossing the line first.
So coming across this time by Taylor Hurst will complete 1:44 on the racetrack at a 30.30 compared to Kenny Humpy's 30.37. So Taylor Hurst continuing to tack on to that lead behind him. Corey Vincent runs in a third. He's got a second and change on Nathan Wise. Nathan Wise has the 91 of Shane Doherty underneath him, battling side by side, not for position. Doherty will make his way past. He may have just been on pit road. And here comes Taylor Hurst down onto pit road here. Hurst to pit road with 22 to go.
And now everything changes out here. Hurst is going to come down pit road. He's not going to leave it a chance. This could be a 2-tire and a splash stop for Taylor Hurst. He will relinquish the lead to Kenny Humpy. Corey Vincent and company, as now the 74 in the attention of his crew. It will be at least a 2-tire stop for Taylor Hurst. Getting right sides on that car, down and away. So Taylor Hurst going to try something here, but it could cost him the race.
Yeah, it might cost him the race, Joe. I don't know if he's going to win this thing now, but I don't think he's going to be the only one to do this. 24 of Nathan Wise down on pit road. He surrenders a top 5 spot to do so. You've got a couple of drivers here that are going to be on the same strategy as Taylor Hurst. If he gets a caution flag, and we haven't seen a caution flag in about 100 laps, if we see a caution flag, it might play out for Taylor Hurst. If we don't see a caution flag, Taylor Hurst may have just lost his first race of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series. He could have very well won.
Well, like I said, he had his fate in his own hands, and him and his crew chose to make that stop, and now you're starting to see the repercussions of that. Now you're starting to see a little bit of danger on that one. So Kenny Humpy will sit in the lead this time by. It looks like it'll be second will belong to Corey Vincent, Brad Mahar third, Nick Ottinger fourth, and Tyler Hudson your top 5. But it's going to be you're going to have a hard time getting back up to Kenny Humpy. 2 seconds between him and Corey Vincent. Make that 1.8 seconds this time between him and Corey Vincent. Kenny Humpy looks like he's trying to play conservation out there in the hopes that he can steal another win here on the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series Tour powered by iRacing.
Corey Vincent can go a little bit longer than Kenny Humpy or Taylor Hirsch could, because on that last stint, he went a little longer than Kenny Humpy or Taylor Hirsch could. Hurst on the back bumper of the 10 of Corey Vincent. He doesn't want to bring out his own caution flag, Joe, because right now he's not the free pass car. He would need those guys in front of him to come down pit road. The free pass car right now is about 8 car lengths ahead of Taylor Hurst. That's Michael Conti is the free pass car at this point. Hurst going to have to get past this number 10 and get up on the wheel and try to catch that number 5. Oh, and by the way, Tyler Hill is only a few car lengths ahead of Kenny Humpy to go a lap down.
Isn't that just the rub of it, though? Funny how that all works out here at the end, as we're now less than 20 laps to go. We are about, 18, 17 laps plus or minus. Kenny Humpy still in the lead. Corey Vincent, 1.7 seconds behind. Brad Mahar, Nick Ottinger, Tyler Hudson, your top 5. And caution flag now changes everything. Caution flag changes the entire race for everyone else out there. And that's going to be the big question. Do we see a caution flag? If we don't see a caution flag, it's advantage Humpy all the way.
I think the only way we see one, Joe, is if somebody makes a mistake coming onto pit road to get that splash and go. You got to keep in mind, there's some of those guys that are out here on the racetrack that can't make it on fuel that are thinking, okay, I really have to charge the entrance to pit road to get down here to get into my box, not make a mistake. Humpy coming down into pit road, 58 car coming off of corner number 4, and he will head to pit road. And he's going to have to charge the line not to make a mistake to try to get back out on the racetrack. It hands the lead over to Corey Vincent, searching for his first NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series victory.
So Kenny Humpy will come down to the attention of his crew this time by. Kenny Humpy, it's probable to say, will not walk away with another win here in the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series. The attention of his crew, perfect stop in the middle of the stall. It will be 2 right side tires full and at least 1 tank of Sunoco Racing fuel down the way. Clean stop for Kenny Humpy, but that relinquishes the lead to the 10 of Corey Vincent.
Tyler Hudson comes down into pit road, nearly hits the commitment cone at the end of pit road, but he's going to come down and get service to his race car, surrender a top 5 position to do so late into the going of this one. 154 being worked on the board for Corey Vincent. He rounds corner number 3, and we'll see if he does decide to come down into pit road on this lap. The 10 car going to stay north of the pit road entry and complete 154 on the racetrack. 13 laps to go.
So Corey Vincent remains on the racing surface. He's got now 3.8 seconds over Brad Mahar, 4.4 seconds over Nick Ottinger, Chad Lawton, Cody Bias. No, check that, PJ Sturgis will now may enter your top 5. No, check that, it will be Trey Eisen in your top 5. In any event, Corey Vincent now is the man to beat on the track, and with 3.8 seconds, he can conserve out there. He can conserve as much as he wants out there and still have enough to compete for this win. 12 to go this time by Corey Vincent in control of the field.
I think Matt Thomas told us in our ear this is lap 58 for Corey Vincent on this stint. If that's the case, Vincent still needs to go another 12 laps on this stint. I don't know if he can do 70 laps here, or nearly 70 laps here, Joe. It's going to be close for Corey Vincent in car number 10, but nevertheless, he comes by this time, completes this lap on the racetrack, 156 completed. Brad Mahar and Nick Ottinger, your top 3, remain on the racetrack. Chad Lawton has slowed down a lot. He might be trying to conserve this thing out to the finish. PJ Sturgis, your top 5.
Leader has 46 laps in. He has to complete 58. So Corey Vincent could be in that very dangerous spot as well. Brad Mahar, Nick Ottinger, Chad Lawton could also be in the very dangerous situation as well. And now I'm wondering, when you make that decision, when do you make that call of do I just go for it? Do I make it work? Or do I throw caution to the wind and see what happens out there? This is where you start making those very dangerous decisions. And, you know, you kind of have to roll the dice at this point. It's up to every crew what they want to do.
We'll see if Corey Vincent does decide to come down here. No, he won't. Brad Mahar in the number 13 will stay out. Ottinger will come in. Here comes the 05 car down to pit road. Ottinger will surrender position number 3 to do so. Chad Lawton will move up the scoring pylon. He stays out in the racetrack, as does PJ Sturgis. So Corey Vincent in at the number 10. He's got the 58 of Kenny Humpy. There is the 58. That is not for position. He is 1 lap down. Humpy will get back on the lead lap right there.
Splash and go for Nick Ottinger down on pit road, and now you see Corey Vincent just letting cars by him. He's still got 3.3 seconds over Brad Mahar, but I've got a feeling Corey Vincent, with 8 laps to go at this juncture, he's going to do everything he can to try to conserve everything in that car of his, in that number 10 machine. He's going to do everything he can to conserve everything inside that car and try, hope, pray it can get past the start-finish line. The question is, will he do it?
I thought he was coming down that time, Joe. It almost looked like he was going to slow up and head down to pit road, but the 10 car stays out on the racetrack. 8 laps away from his first NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series win, and 3.1 seconds up on Brad Mahar. Kenny Humpy is 29 seconds behind, or better yet, he's only about 2 seconds in front of Corey Vincent. The question is, can he keep it under power? Brad Mahar coming down this time by. Does the 10 stay out in the racetrack? Yes, he does. 13 car coming down the pit road to surrender position at number 2. So there goes Brad Mahar. Chad Lawton in the number 26 stays out in the racetrack. PJ Sturgis, Jake Sturgis, Ray Alfala, Overland, Blackford, the guys that we saw on the first run, Joe, try to stay out and conserve, they are also staying on the racetrack right now.
Yes, they are. Advantage Vincent once again. Now 9 seconds between him and Chad Lawton, which I'm sure is going to stabilize a little bit when they get to the start-finish line. It will be 6 to go when Corey Vincent crosses the start-finish line. Mahar will take a splash that time. It looks like a couple other drivers will take a splash as well. The 26, we're now being told Chad Lawton's down on pit road. So Lawton not taking any chances at this juncture. It is all about Corey Vincent, and can he milk it?
10 car comes through 3 and 4 this time. 163 going to be completed on the racetrack for Corey Vincent. So we got 4 laps to go now, and he's got a 12-second lead on the Sturgis brothers. PJ leading Jake. PJ stays out in the racetrack. Jake stays out in the racetrack. And Joe, I think those guys can make it. They pitted a little bit, or they stayed out a little bit longer on that first stint than Corey Vincent did. I think if Vincent makes it, those guys definitely make it. I think if Vincent runs out, I think they definitely make it still. They have a couple laps extra. Corey Vincent will stay out on the racetrack this time by, and Vincent will lead 164 on the racetrack.
3 to go at this juncture, and Corey Vincent still in control of the field. As we run the numbers one more time, his last run was about 58 laps. Currently, he's running 53. So, if everything stays as it is right now, Corey Vincent's fate is in his own hands. He's got to make 2 more circuits here at Kentucky Speedway in that car. Popsicle sticks in the air, 2 to go, and Corey Vincent's got to do everything he can to make that car keep turning left for 8 more turns total.
This is going to potentially be the longest minute in Corey Vincent's life. Down the back straightaway for the second to last time. He's got some traffic behind him. He's racing with the Aftermath Motorsports crew here along with Shane Doherty. The 10 car comes up out of corner number 4. You got what you got, boy. White flag is out for Corey Vincent. Can he come back one more time and win his first NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series victory? And Joe, he's pulling away from PJ Sturgis. 13 seconds the gap between your top 2. Down the back straightaway for the final time. The 10 of Corey Vincent has to hold on, get everything that he can out of that race car, working through 3 and 4 for the final time. We've seen some surprise winners this season. Add Corey Vincent to the list. Vincent going to go to victory lane at the Kentucky Speedway in round number 10 of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series. Behind him, a whole host of guys that did the exact same strategy. PJ Sturgis comes up out of corner number 4. He will finish second. Jake Sturgis will come home in position at number 3. Alfala in the 2, and Chris Overland racing Brian Blackford for position number 5, and he will pick up that spot. Corey Vincent, who would have thunk it?
You know, I think going into this race, Corey Vincent thunk it. Corey Vincent was the one who said, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to try to do everything I can. And starting from position number 17, he had a good number to begin the race, and he found a way through all the way to the very end. Corey Vincent will pick up his very first NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series win at Kentucky Speedway, and not a moment too soon. Big win for him and the entire team at one of the toughest tracks on the circuit. A well-deserved win tonight.
Corey Vincent will celebrate, and I think the other big story behind him, 5 of the LRM Slip Angle Technical Alliance drivers finish 2nd through 6th. Taylor Hurst, Kenny Humpy, tough break for those 2. Pit strategy not going their way, and those are the only 9 if you include Justin Bolton drivers in the lead lap. Tyler Hill finishes in 10th. We'll wrap this thing up with the post-race show coming up after this. You're watching the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing.
Sorry, guys. I never would have thought making duck calls would have stirred up this much excitement.
No kidding. Got him coming up here.
Shortcut time!
That's what I'm talking about. You sure this is a good idea?
Oh, yeah. I got this.
I can't guarantee you how this will end, but Pete can guarantee your radiator for life. Introducing the Peak Run True Guarantee. Check it out at peakguarantee.com.
On the outside, contact made. 56 slides in at a 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even. Give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy. Welcome back to the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing. And after the summer break, we add one more name to the win list. It's Corey Vincent going to Victory Lane, the Kentucky Speedway. And Joe Cortez is down in Victory Lane to greet driver number 10.
Corey Vincent finds a way to make the car work, bend to his will, and he will pick up his very first NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series win here in the Bluegrass State. Corey, congratulations. You add your name to the list, to a very elite list of drivers, including Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's won in the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series. How does it feel, buddy?
Oh, it feels amazing. It's unbelievable. Can't believe we won. Gotta thank my team, PMG. Gotta thank the guys that helped me tonight. Kimalik Little and John Ryan. They were on the box for me, and it, they had me stretch it out there so we can make it on fuel, and just can't believe we won.
Definitely an incredible win for you, Corey. Let's talk about that very last run where you ran almost 60 laps to win this race. At what point did you and your crew decide to make that choice? To say we're going to go for it, wreck checkers or wreckers?
Well, on that last pit stop there, we stayed out longer than everybody, I believe. I think maybe PJ might have stayed out, might have pitted on the lap that we pitted on, but yeah, we stretched it a little further than the rest of them, and when we came out, we knew we were like a lap and a half short. So we knew that, you know, in that full run, we could probably save, you know, a lap, and yeah, it worked out. We got the win. Can't believe it.
Well, you got the win, and not a moment too soon. What's next for the rest of the season as we start to wind down the 2015 campaign? Now that you've got this win under your belt, what are the goals for the rest of the season?
Well, the goal is definitely to stay in the top 20. We haven't had the season that we would have liked to have, but you know, I think you know, starting here, we can turn it around and finish off strong. I think we're like 17th in points, so tonight is going to definitely help us out, and hopefully we can continue running good and get some more finishes and climb up and hopefully get up into the top 10. I would like to finish in the top 10 for sure.
Currently 12th after this win, 12th in points unofficially. The driver of the number 10 machine, Corey Vincent. Corey, congratulations on the huge win. I know you want to celebrate this one, so I'll let you go and drink this one up, buddy. You've earned this win.
Thanks, guys.
Corey Vincent in the driver of the number 10 machine. He will finish first tonight here at Kentucky Speedway. Tim Terry's called up our second place finisher, PJ Sturgis.
And PJ Sturgis leading the Last Row Motorsports Slip Angle Technical Alliance position number 2 this evening. PJ, let's talk about saving some fuel to get to the end of this race.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome to come home second. It's my second place in DWC, but yeah, as that caution came out, pretty much everyone started screaming over our team chat, fuel mileage, so from there on out, that was our strategy. So congrats to Corey for the win. I mean, we probably wouldn't have had anything for him regardless, so I mean, he earned it. But yeah, it's good to sneak so many of us into the top 6 like that. We all worked pretty hard on this setup. It was definitely not one guy that put this together. It was everyone had a hand in this, so good to have everyone's hard work pay off.
Dynamic weather coming into play for this week as well. How much did you guys have to scramble to get your stuff together for this week as compared to maybe the first 9 weeks of this season?
Honestly, it probably was actually less work because we just kind of got one setup that was close and tweaked it for a couple different temperatures that we thought was coming up, and we weren't perfect tonight by any means. I mean, Kenny and he was pretty much in a league of his own there until he got into the wall and got caught out by the fuel mileage, but I think we did pretty well. It's good to have a little bit more dynamics in the sim, which is definitely going to be cool in the future once we get more of it. But yeah, it's made things interesting, and it was actually a lot of fun out there tonight.
Staring down the barrel now at the second half of the season, and without the drops factored in, you are running 6th in the point standings heading in to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What do we expect in 2 weeks' time, and what are your goals with this rest of the season staring us down?
Well, Indy last year I actually led a few laps there, and unfortunately got caught up in a wreck. And Watkins Glen is one of my better tracks, so hopefully these next few weeks we can try to make some ground up. I think Kenny is a little bit too far out of our reach, but you never know. You never know what can happen in racing, so keep at it and keep working hard. But I want to thank my sponsor, iAnalyze Racing. They have some great telemetry software that is very simple to use and user-friendly. Be sure to check them out. And vracing.se, they support us, and it's a great little simulator school over there for you, whoever might be listening over in Stockholm, Sweden. So shout out to them.
And that's PJ Sturgis coming home in position number 2 here this evening. I believe Joe is caught up with his brother, Jake Sturgis.
Jake Sturgis making a Sturgis 2-3 finish on the field tonight. And Jake, let's talk about the fuel mileage run first and foremost. All 3 of you have been able to make this track work on the fuel mileage game. Was that deliberate, or was that a last-minute call?
Well, we were planning on doing 2 stops the whole race, and that caution came out basically when we would be making our first stop. So from there on out, we were basically just going to do one stop no matter what, and hope it stayed green, and it just worked out right, especially for my brother, and he finished like 6 seconds ahead of me, and Corey was like another 12 seconds ahead of him, so he was in his own league there. He was just gone. But we knew fuel mileage would be like the only way we could get a top 5 tonight, I think.
Well, you're able to make it work tonight, and you're able to translate into a top 3 finish. Tell us about this new track and the new build that you had to contend with tonight. First time you get the new build out on a very difficult track. How did the car run tonight?
It was pretty much perfect. Got to thank the guys over at Slip Angle and Lastro Motorsports for making such a good setup, especially Joey Brown. He made this 72-degree weather setup, and the weather was 72 degrees, so it worked out perfect for us, and setup was great. Had really good long-run speed. It was really fast on the short run, too. And I was able to save a lot of fuel just by lifting early and shutting the car off. And this build compared to the last build, though, it's better, I think. You really got to wheel the car. It's on the edge, and I think it punishes some people. They're really not pushing the car as hard, and for me, I was just not pushing it that hard either, but I was able to save a lot of fuel and get 3rd place.
Jake, you touched on something very important here that you guys have never had to contend with before, and that is the dynamic weather that the series will face from now until the end of the season. How difficult was it setting up for a weather pattern that you had an idea of what it would be, but no way to nail down until actual race time?
Yeah, it was tough, especially we thought we might be racing in default weather earlier today, but they changed it a few hours before the race back to the dynamic. And this track being a night track, it's not as variable because the track temp's basically fixed to the air temp, so the range is smaller. But we had like 5 different setups or so, depending on what the weather would be. And the wind didn't change that much. We thought it might change a little more during the race, but it pretty much stayed the same the whole race. Next week at Indy, it's going to be a day race, so the conditions will be a lot harder to predict. I mean, you'll need probably 10 different setups, so there's going to be a lot of testing going on.
Jake Sturgis finding a way to finish 3rd here tonight on fuel mileage and dynamic weather. Jake, great run tonight. We will look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks at Indy.
Thank you.
Finishing in 4th tonight, right behind him is a 2-time champion, Ray Alfala. Ray, you were another driver out there who really found a way to use fuel mileage to your advantage to get up front and get a top 5 finish.
Yeah, just happy for the Wendell Scott Foundation. Ran them at Michigan for the first time and led a few laps, and unfortunately the strategy didn't work out, and we got in a pretty bad wreck. So tonight, we qualified 2nd, and we were running 2nd, and pretty soon I realized it was going to be a fuel mileage race, so I started saving fuel from like lap 20 and saved a lot of gas tonight, too much actually, but it feels awesome. Nobody from our team, Slip Angle or Lastro, won the race, but we all finished, I think, 2nd through 6th, and Casey Tucker would have been right up there as well if he hadn't had connection issues. And it just feels great to have an awesome team effort with really great strategy.
The strategy really seemed to come into play later on in the race. You mentioned that you realized it's going to be a fuel mileage race later on throughout the race tonight. Let me ask you this. How was the car set up originally, and what did you have to do in order to adjust for the fuel mileage run?
Well, basically, you just use you use the throttle less. It was actually a lot harder than I thought it would be to save gas. But it's always kind of worth it to save gas if it stays green on the way, unless the yellow comes out. But we decided to go for it, and I'm actually kind of glad that the race got over pretty quick because my teammate Brian Black is actually picking me up, and then we're going to go fly in the morning up to Virginia with the Wendell Scott Foundation and the Steer into STEM Motorsports Camp that has been going on this week, and we're really excited about that. We get to teach high school students about STEM and about motorsports using iRacing. So just glad to get the Wendell Scott Foundation an interview tonight, and really looking forward to that tomorrow.
Okay, so 2 weeks' time, you go to a completely different track. Tonight, you were at the 1.5 mile tri-oval of Kentucky Speedway. 2 weeks' time, we're going to see you at the big 2 mile for 2 mile 4-turn track at Indianapolis. What are you doing to prepare for that? And number two, those high schoolers going to give you a little tips on how to set up the car for in 2 weeks?
Oh, let's hope. It's kind of scary. It's been 7 years since I graduated high school. How time flies, but Indy's my favorite track. There's just there's no other way around it. So I finished top 2 there last 4 races, so my expectations are pretty high. It's been circled on my calendar. It's a race that I put a lot of pressure on myself for that race just because I enjoy that track a lot, and but it's I enjoy pressure situations, and I can't wait for Indy. It's absolutely my favorite track, and I can't wait.
Real quick, Ray, is the season turnaround going to start at Indy?
Sure, it could have started tonight. I mean, we're really far from Kenny, so it would take a major catastrophe to catch him. But we're gonna still keep trying to do our best every race and to keep finishing well. And there's a lot of people, a lot of sponsors, and a lot of people supporting us that want us to do well. And all we can do is do the best we can for them. And before I go, I want to thank everybody on Lastro and Slip Angle. Thank Lisa, thank Joey Brown, thank the Sturgills. They're great with fuel mileage, and PJ, and I'm forgetting a lot of names. Sorry to Casey Tucker, he fell out of the server, and he was right behind me, and he would have finished probably right there as well. And I don't know, I'm kind of just running out of things to say at the moment, but we're really looking forward to the rectangle in a couple weeks.
To the rectangle in a couple weeks we go. Ray Alfalla finishing 4th here tonight in the Bluegrass State. Tim Terry's caught up with Chris Overland in 5th.
Chris Overland completes your top 5 here this evening. And Chris, fuel mileage, Kentucky, let's walk us through 167 laps here.
A whole lot of can I make it? Who can make it? We're going to make it. We made it. That's basically it.
It pretty much sums it up. Let's talk about the race, though. When we came into this race, a couple of guys thinking, okay, well, it's Kentucky. It's a rough racetrack, dynamic weather, everything throwing in. We're going to have a few cautions in this race. Did you guys anticipate when you were preparing for this race that we were only going to have one caution tonight?
We weren't really thinking about cautions. We were just trying to get the cars to be comfortable, because at this point, you can't, with dynamic weather, you can't go out there and you can't set the car up to go like it used to for I'm gonna find the words I'm looking for here in a second. You can't just set the car up for a long run anymore, because the weather is going to be different, and you just got to go out there and make the car comfortable. So we weren't thinking of anything like that. We were just trying to get the best we could. And once the green flag dropped, we realized actually as the green flag was dropping that it was going to be a fuel mileage race. So we started saving from lap 1. And when that first caution came out, it just happened to come out at the perfect time for us, and we ended up capitalizing on it. The double clutch Menards Chevy is pretty good when it comes to fuel mileage. I like it.
Without the drop factored in, you are 4th in the point standings. You're only 27 back from 2nd, but there's a log jam behind you as well. Now that we are over that hump, we're halfway through this season, or over halfway through this season. What is your goal point-wise? Can you climb up to position number 2? Do you want to get a top 5 finish? Where do you set your goal now, knowing that we're in the homeward stretch of this season?
Well, I try to put pressure on myself to improve every year. And last year I got 6th in points, so anything better than that I will be satisfied with. And I certainly think I can get up there and go to 2nd. I have the same exact package as Ray every week, and he could have bad luck every once in a while. And anything's possible. I really hope I can get up to 2nd.
Before we let you go, for those fans that are watching on Fans Choice and iRacing Live, all of the affiliates for the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, we head to Indianapolis next week. What do we expect out of the Brickyard?
Well, I heard Ray mumbling a little bit when he was in here. He's a big fan of Indianapolis, but I'm also a big fan of Indianapolis, and me and him kind of got a silent competition about who can do better that week. So if he expects to win, I don't know what's better than first, but I'm going to try to get that. No, but in all seriousness, with the dynamic weather and so many unknowns going in that race. I'm just hoping to finish. Indy is one of my favorite tracks. I put a lot of pressure on myself to do well there. So if we've got a car that's capable of winning, I hope that I'll be somewhere up there. I can't account for any of the other variables that could take my race out. But if that's all out of the way, then I definitely expect we could be battling for the win with Ray.
And that's Chris Overland coming home this evening in position number 5. And Joe, I think he's going to be a threat the next time we race on the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series. Our next round is at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Ray likes that racetrack. Chris Overland likes that racetrack. But there's probably going to be about 40 others or so that also like the racetrack when we do go green. Final thoughts for this evening. Taylor Hurst led a lot of laps this evening. Kenny Humpy led the early stages of this race. But in the end, it comes down to fuel mileage. We have a new winner in this series in Corey Vincent, but then it's the Last Row Motorsports Slip Angle Technical Alliance that finished second all the way back to 6th.
Funny how that all works, isn't it, in the end? You know, this is an anomaly of a track, and a lot of things came together tonight that would not normally affect some of these drivers. You had the introduction of the dynamic weather, which means you can't plan for the weather anymore. You had a new rules package that was introduced to these cars, an update, if you will, from the iRacing service that they have not raced with yet because it was introduced during the summer break all these drivers took. So you had a lot of things here come together, and you had to be very intelligent. You had to be very smart and make a plan at the end of the race that would ultimately get you that win. And those drivers that were flexible, that could improvise, that could do what they do very well at the end, they were the ones who you saw running up front, running first, and running consistently. And what I'm really excited to see is what they can take away from tonight's race that they can apply in 2 weeks' time when the green flag flies in the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series once again over Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
That's going to be a fun race. You're going to want to join us for round number 11 on the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing coming up in 2 weeks' time. But before we get there, we'll have some iRacing night coverage coming up next week, next Tuesday, here on Fans Choice, iRacing Live, and all of our affiliates for the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing. iRacing night coming up next Tuesday night. But that's going to do it for us here this evening. So for all of our staff, Joe Cortez, want to thank Parker Kligerman for joining us in the pre-race show. My name is Tim Terry. We'll see you next week when we say let's go racing with iRacing night. Keep the hammer down, and we'll see you at the track.
I'm Dan Garrison, software engineer at iRacing. Since the beginning of Papyrus and through iRacing, the track has been unchanging through a session. Whatever you have at the beginning is what you have for the duration of the session and at the end. The track doesn't change. What we want to do is be able to have the track respond to what's going on. to have cars interact with the track, to have the track change in temperature, in the amount of rubber. We want marbles, and we want those to be generated by the cars, putting them where they should be and picking them up and rethrowing them off the race line. It's a physical-based model that we focus on first and foremost. The tire and the track interaction, what's really going on there. It would be easy to just quickly throw something together. Our standards are, it needs to make sense. What's really going on, even at the molecular level between the track and the tire. The way the track works, essentially, is we divide it up into small cells that your car interacts with. So if you're adding temperature to a certain part of the track, we can pretty accurately know exactly where that is. That gets transmitted to the server. So if I'm in a race, my data is going to the server with everybody else in the session. The server accumulates that and basically broadcasts a consistent track state to everyone, so everyone's got the same track that they're racing on. One of the big challenges was being able to implement this dynamic track with any number of clients connected and have it just work as you would expect. Have it be the same for everyone in the service who's in a session. So to kind of give a little bit of a preview of the state of things right now, I basically have run a number of laps at 5 flags with the effects exaggerated for demonstration purposes so that we can kind of immediately see what's going on with the track. Right here is basically the track at the beginning of the session. There is a little bit of rubber on there that's put programmatically. That's the starting state of this track, and it's fairly low rubber at this point. If we skip ahead to the end, yeah, I did about 30 laps, so at the very end you can kind of see all this darkened in right here. This is where I was running the car, so well, there you go. And again, this is exaggerated. A single car in 30 laps is not going to darken the track anywhere near this level. We also have the ability to see the temperature, similar to an IR camera. At the beginning of the session, it's a little bit warm down here. It's very cool up here. As we skip ahead, all of a sudden this part of the track has become very warm. This is where I was running the car. And we can also drag the little thumbnail and see the effect of time as the track cools off and returns back to its equilibrium state. Before we had fairly symmetrical tracks. Now, because the sun is shining at some angle, one side of the track might be particularly hot, and 180 degrees around the track is going to be significantly cooler because the sun isn't really pointing at that. So you're on a track where maybe you basically treated it as 2 equal halves. Now you need to adjust to that. With multiple cars over a long race, you're going to have to seek out where's the grip, where is it going, how is the track changing. It's going to require a much more intelligent approach to racing. You're going to have to be able to handle the track through the life of the race. So in addition to temperature and rubber, we're also spending a lot of time working with marbles, putting them on the track where they should be. Later in a race, you can expect there to be marbles offline, and so a pass might be a little more sketchy later in the race because you're going to have to go through part of the track that has accumulated some rubber. On the oval side, if you want to venture out into, say, the outside line and nobody's been there yet, you can expect to find marbles there. I expect that the track becoming dynamic means that during a race, temperature is going to go up significantly and the grip is going to respond negatively. You will want to be anticipating that, seeking out cooler parts of the track, taking a slightly higher line for a while, testing out, is it faster up here? I fully expect it's going to break up the field. Cars are going to be trying new things. You won't be able to just take a qualifying setup and make a tiny change and then be able to run the same laps over and over. It's going to just become a much more dynamic and unpredictable experience. As significant as this first implementation is in creating a dynamic environment, it's really kind of just sets the foundation for even bigger and better things. We'll be able to handle day-night transitions and a moving sun and clouds coming in, and have the track respond to that. We can look down the road and say, well, we'll want to do rain and have water on the track and have it move and have it dry according to where the tires are and how much temperature is there and how much is the sun shining. All these things that happen in a real race, we want to model them, and we are well on our way in being able to do something like that. I think it's great as an iRacing member to see this feature come to fruition. This dynamic track is something that really has been kind of discussed for a long time, and to join the team and be able to bring it to the members, myself being one of them, is very exciting. It's going to change the face of race sessions significantly and really improve the experience.